Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live. I am just getting fully set up here, trying to see. It's not very bright. Okay. If I'm dark, if the screen looks dark on your end, then I apologize. I'm facing another direction, and I hope I'm on live on Facebook and on YouTube. Oh, good. I am. Hello, Beth. I am on both. Happy New Year, Paula. Good evening, Linda. Hi, Kevin. Ellie, Lindsay, hello. And Daly, hello. And Beth, I am just bringing up on my phone as well. Candace, hello. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Is others like me? Your tree. I still got one tree, two trees up because it's officially Christmas not over until Old Christmas Day. We call it in Newfoundland, and that's the 6th, and we're not there yet. Happy New Year, Sylvie. And Carla, hello. Perfect. Okay, Carla. Oh my God, Carla, we have to connect. We haven't spoken all over Christmas. Checking in on you. You're going to have to come out and spend a night when your husband's away. While your husband's away, I might have to come pick you up, but you're going to have to come out. Okay, we're just letting room fill up a little bit. Just letting Brenda know, my sister-in-law know that we're here. Thank you, Marilyn. Hello again. So yeah, I was just on my phone outside. I thought I'd see the moon, but it's very cloudy here and we had snow a little bit earlier. Man, the trees are white, which is absolutely beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love it. The trees are white, the ground is white, the sky is white, everything is just white. I am missing sunshine. Good evening, Deborah and Liz. And there's Brenda. She can see you, Beth. She's right by you. She can see that you say hello. Uh, did I say hi, Sylvie? Yeah. Hello to everyone who's joining in. Hello. Hi, Michelle and Elsie. Hello, 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 hello. Okay. First and foremost, happy full moon. This is full moon in Cancer. Who else has their moon sign in Cancer? If you know your astrology or you know a little bit about yourself, who else has a moon in Cancer? Like I have a moon in Cancer. So it's like it's at home. That's the home side. That's the home place for the moon is in Cancer. So Cancer and the moon, the ruling planet of Cancer is the moon. And so it is at home there. It is the divine feminine energy. It is very much the mothering energy. Um, and it's and it's how your moon sign is how you emotionally show up, how you emotionally respond, how you emotionally react. You know, I since I was a little girl, I was going to mother everything and everyone. You have it, Michelle? Yeah, it can be intense, right? It's like we can have some big emotions. We can have some big emotions. I always say that about Phoebe Cat. I'm like Phoebe Cat has some big emotions like her mom, like me. I don't even think I comb my hair today. Um, you have it too, Julie? You have moon in Cancer? Candace has moon in Cancer? Yeah. Yeah, if you've it's really interesting once you start to dive into all of the aspects of your natal chart. Cafe Astrology, if you go to cafeastrology.com, you can literally print out your whole natal chart and it gives you a write up with it. You put in your if you don't have your birth time, it'll give you pretty accurate. The only thing you really can't get is your ascendant because the ascendant sign keeps changing. You need your exact time of birth in order to have your exact ascendant sign, but it will give you everything else. Cafeastrology.com. You'll get your whole and put in like your natal, I think it's like free natal report, and it'll give you your wheel. It'll give you where all the elements are. It'll it'll give you all of that. I've been really emotional today. Yeah, it definitely comes with a lot of emotions. And so what the full moon is about is that the full moon energy highlights the area that where we have our, our wounds, or where we have our biggest insecurities, or the area that we need to acknowledge within our emotions. So it brings up a bit of that feeling in us. So people say, "Oh, it's a full moon, it makes people go crazy." And to some degree, that holds a lot of truth because when we had the hair salon, you'd get some of your most agitated people on that full moon. You knew when I worked in the bar, holy, if you had something happening on a night of the full moon, people would get in fights, they'd argue, but that's the shadow aspect of it, right? And it's because it's highlighting something. It is activating, it's drawing attention to that part of ourselves that we don't even want to acknowledge, we don't want to see. And that's so important to once you start doing this work and you start really putting the focus into your healing, like one of the biggest things that I work in more than existing and the more than existing way and all the coaching programs that I do is self-actualization, self-realization. And those come with some real radical honesty done with kindness and compassion. But it's learning to communicate in the proper way. So one of the ways to ourselves, asking ourselves the right questions. So this is one of my journals. This is my newest journal. I just started, and I didn't start it because it's New Year's. I started because I'm out of pages in another journal, and I've been saving this one to write in this one. And I was writing this morning something that I really felt was very profound. And I woke up with it, and it came to me in a dream. I heard it in a dream. I felt it. I seen it all happening in a dream. And I really felt that, you know what? I really want to share this. And then I wasn't going to share it. And then I felt it was too personal and it's going to be taken the wrong way. And so I wasn't going to share it. And then Lisa, who just showed up here, said, "You have to share it. Like, you need to share this out as well." And so I sent it to her and I'm like, okay. So it started as a journal entry. And in the journal entry, it speaks about, well, I talk about, you know, our intrusive thoughts. And your journal is for your intrusive thoughts to really be heard, to let yourself be heard, and to hear yourself. I always say if you have teenagers and they want to talk about something, but you keep interrupting them and you keep stopping them from being able to say what they want to say because they, that's just silly, that's ridiculous, that's wrong. Well, you know what? There's nothing more powerful than letting your kids spew it all out. When I work with teenagers, they tell me your most ridiculous thing. Tell me how you really feel about this. Like, tell me what you're really feeling in this moment. And if you don't interrupt and let them get everything out, and that's what your journal's for. And so if you pretty up your journals, and if you only write in there what you think you should say, or who you think you should be, or what you think you should be feeling, is that you're thinking. Our most addictive thing that we have is our ability to is our overthinking, right? And so it's like you're thinking about all the time, how will people feel about this? What if someone reads my journal? What if somebody does this? Or what, oh, I can't say that, or I can't acknowledge that. Well, in my chart, in my human design, in my natal chart, in my gene keys, I come with the shock factor. I arrive with the shock factor. I'm here to shock. I'm here to stir shit up. And and so I share the reality of life. And I shared the journey. If you haven't read it today, or if you haven't listened to the full moon energy update, the full moon energy update is on YouTube. And I speak about it in here as well. But I speak about how let me go back. Let me see if I can bring it up. Uh, okay. What I woke up with was Where does sadness end and true happiness begin? Now you have to realize I work with a lot of people, and a lot of days I'm not dealing with joy and happiness. I'm working helping people with sadness and heartbreak and letdowns and disappointments. I mean, that's where I spend most of my day sometimes. And I wouldn't change it for a thing, for nothing. But I'd be lying if I said to them, "Oh, well, everything is gonna be perfectly great in your life. Like, things are gonna just be perfect." No, they're fucking not ever gonna be perfect. Nothing's ever gonna be perfect, including you. And that facade of perfection and presenting perfection and not letting anyone see, because God forbid if someone see your brokenness, right? If someone sees the cracks in your foundation. But when you build your foundation stronger, which is what the more than existing way chorus is about, is that you strengthen that foundation and you repair the cracks, right? You recognize those parts, but you also I work in emotional intelligence and working with helping people evolve their emotional responses, reactions, and how we emotionally show up is having to really navigate your way through emotions. So where does sadness and true happiness begin? And what I wrote in brackets was the power of intrusive thoughts. And I said, I woke up this morning with that question sitting heavy. You came to shock. Love that. I did. I've never done human design. Yes. Go, go see Lisa. She's right. Go see Lisa and her and your human design stuff. I mean, I started my human design years ago. And by the time I had started the more than existing program, Lisa, then I had already traveled through like my cycle of human design. And it was so amazing for me. So I woke up this morning with that question sitting heavy in my chest. So I journaled it out. And I am sharing this with you. I am a woman who has struggled with seasonal disorder my whole life. And I'm not always happy, optimistic, or confident, even in myself. And of course, this is a full moon in Cancer today. So that is a truth. And so what I'm also feeling is what happened today. And I didn't know this happened until later today. And I feel everything that happens in the world. And so there was it was a political thing, and it was the U.S. invading Venezuela, or however that all went down, and those kind of those kind of energies have a big impact upon us, and sometimes we don't know what it is at the moment. But back to this part is the seasonal disorder is as the seasons change. So, like our actual new year is not really until we go into Aries season, because it's if you look back through history, it ties into seasons. So calendar new year changes. The rhythm in our body moves with the seasons. That's why we have elements. And your element may very much work very well in the winter season. I don't. It's cold. It is watery. It is earthy. It is airy. It is not fiery. It's I'm an Aries, right? And so elemental wise, I thrive when the true new year happens. And if you were to look back through history, they actually celebrated it on April the 1st. April the 1st is April Fool's Day. It was called April Fool's Day. And I was reminded of this by a woman on Instagram who's amazing. Um, it was called April Fool's Day because anyone who wasn't willing to shift and still celebrate on April 1st was a fool. They're an April fool, right? And so April is my new year spring. Yeah, exactly. And so April is the time that we take action, right? It's the time that we start moving. As the season comes into spring, we start taking action. We start cleaning up. We plan in the winter months. Like in the winter season, it is about planning. It is about rest. It's about inward journey. For myself, having us living here, living in the areas of where you don't get the same amount of sunshine, is I'm a fire sign. I need sun. I need that light. And so I I recognize when this is happening now. Before I didn't. And I used to think I was spiraling into deep depressions. Now I recognize that during these times, I have I have intrusive thoughts. And those intrusive thoughts, most people, when you're not consciously aware of what's happening in your body and in your life, you believe it to be your truth. You believe this is what's really always happening. And is there some truth to it? Absolutely, there's some truth to it. It is a struggle. Sometimes it is. And we're in the gate of struggle right now. Like we're moving through in Gene Keys, we're moving through struggle that moves into perseverance, and perseverance then moves into honor. So to honor myself is I have to honor my truths. And to honor my truths is to recognize the things that are bothering me, the things that are playing out in my head because my mind is thinking and it's connecting to things, and it's connecting to things that feel very real in the moment. And those are, things about um of disappointing myself, feeling like I can't continue to disappoint myself and I can't continue to do things a certain way. So changes have to be made, but I have to recognize what's really true. And so this is just letting yourself speak to get out what's in your head so that it is not planting seeds. And when it plants the seeds, it grows roots. So it doesn't take root. You don't let your fears, you don't let the sadness take root. So where does sadness end and the true happiness begin? Now, what I wrote, uh, let me see if I can find it. Mm, hold on. Give me a second. Oh, yeah. So where does sadness end and happiness begin? It doesn't. It doesn't. Sadness doesn't end. It is one of our emotions in a wheel of emotions. But there's inner wheel, there's middle wheel, and there's outer wheel of emotions. And that's wheel of emotions. And then it expands. So the expanded is getting to the truth about what's really bothering you. Are you frustrated? Are you disheartened? Are you let down? Is it real sadness? And so sadness doesn't end. So sadness, uh, it doesn't start or stop anywhere. It lives in our choices. So sadness lives in our choices. It doesn't end or start anywhere. And this morning, I'm choosing to show up differently in my own life. Sadness stays with me. It never really goes. It stays with me. But sadness and disappointment are not the same thing. Disappointing yourself is what feeds sadness. So here's the reality for today. There are truffled flavored croissants sitting on my counter. And it was. There's the old guy had given me $20 before Christmas, go get them. And I was feeling so bad because I had not gone to get donuts, is what we were supposed to get. And I hadn't been. And so I could feel myself feeling really bad. And then I went into town and I got some croissants and things. And I was excited about it. But I was also sad because they were gone yesterday evening when I went there. So 10:30 this morning, I was bringing them down. So sadness is a part of our emotional bank. It's always there, but happiness is there too. So remember that. Sadness is there, but happiness is there too. They're all there. Everything is there. Everything is hanging out in the same wheel of emotion. Spin the wheel, it's all there. It's all happening. So today, please don't disappoint yourself by exhausting your energy given what no one is asking for, hoping it will finally make you feel happy or worthy. Instead, do the things that make you feel alive. Happiness doesn't need to be chased. It begins to appear when you do. And what I mean by that is when we do things that make you feel alive instead of seeking things that make you feel happy, because you'll always be disappointed because people are not going to respond the way that you're hoping, because we have these fantasies how we think people are going to respond, how we think people are going to be, because we're trying to feed the sadness, and that's a part of the moon. So the moon card, which, where did it go? darn cats. Oh, here we go. What wolf are you feeding? Right? What are you feeding? What are you feeding? And so one will starve out if you still believe in that faith, if you hold or that happiness. And so do the things that make you feel alive and makes you feel seen by yourself. And so not the sadness didn't go away. The sadness never goes away. It's not always activated. I don't live in it, and it no longer has the power because I am empowered by my awareness and by my consciousness, but it does exist. There's moments you walk around the house, you're spewing out, but do the things that make you feel alive. So even though there's no sunlight or very little being seen, I go outside, I take pictures of snowflakes, I go walk, I go visit the old guys. And people wonder why I go visit the old guys. Like that's the old boys club. No women go to the old boys club. They hang out in a big shop and they drink coffee and they go 3 times a day. That keeps them going. That's their purpose, right? They all meet up. That's their happiness. No matter what else happens in life, they go. Well, who else goes now? Me. Now, depends on who's there, whether or not I go and if I stay. And so I know that, me connecting with them is always some way for them to also check on me because I live in a community of 12 people in farm country. It's a reality. I don't live in a city, but do we check in on people? Right? How often do you check in on people? How often you're feeling down, one of the best things you can probably do is call somebody else instead of focus on what you're down about. Pick up the phone, make those contacts, reach out to people. So it's like exhausting your energy giving what no one is asking for. How many times do you like say, "Oh, I'm going to make these cookies for these people," or "I'm going to do this because they're going to be so excited about it." And they might be happy and, "Oh, thank you. That was so nice." But you're not getting the response you want because you wanted all of your sadness to go away, but it didn't go away, right? It's like you have to be happy with yourself for making the cookies and not for delivering the cookies. You have to be happy for the things that you do for your kids without expecting them to throw a parade for you. Gratitude is one thing, and they're probably very grateful. But if you continue to feed the sadness and always feeling the disappointment and always disappointing yourself with not getting the reaction that you want, you're always going to be sad. Always going to be disappointment. I literally just asked my husband the same question. I told him the tale of two wolves yesterday. Yeah, right, exactly. It is the tale of two wolves. And we were just talking about this at Christmas time as well with my friends, and it's the tale of two wolves. We all have these wolves inside of us. We all have these entities inside of. We all have these emotions inside of us. It all exists. What are we feeding, right? And so it is there, and so no longer do I continue, but it appears, it comes up. So because it appears, I put my sadness or my ugliness in this pretty book, and I write about it until it evolves, until it matures. And I keep writing until there is maturity around it. And when it's mature, and when I get to the root, and then when I can pull out the ugly root, and then when I can see the beauty, and I can see the and I can see the happy ending, and I can see all of that happening, then I stop writing because that's what it is, right? It's like life is never going to be a bed of roses. You can put on your rose colored glasses and you can even fill your journal full of rose colored glasses stories. You can, but optimism is something we develop. It is something that we create. Toxic positivity is real and it irritates the shit out of out of our little shadow. But it also it irritates the shit out of our realness and being real. And too often we forget to be real. And so I really appreciate how people reach out to me and but I always say, whenever you read my books and my stories or anything, how you're emotionally responding, how you're feeling that's your emotions. You're creating those emotions. Nobody else creates our emotions but ourselves. And so if that's our go-to is to feel bad or to feel sad or to feel, oh my God, feel that pain, is that we're feeling our own, we're attaching to our own pain and to our own story. And when we can evolve beyond that, it's a game changer. So sadness and happiness, there is no end and there is no beginning. It just is. And it all exists. And it all just goes around. But it doesn't mean, so when I say I'm having a sad moment, it doesn't mean I'm not happy. It doesn't mean that my life is falling apart. It means that there is something that is bugging me, bothering me. There's something that I want to express, or something that I want to work on, or something that I want to see, or something that needs to be changed. And for myself, I've recognized areas of my life and my work of where I have to make some changes this year. And I have to really look at what it is that truly I want to do so that I don't feel like I am disappointing me and letting myself down. Because there's so many things in our lives that maybe we want to do, but it's always on hold and always in the some days. Where did I just share that? Did I just share that yesterday's? Or did I share that at all? Some days, waiting for the some days. So I just wrote a blog about that somewhere. Some days, waiting for the some days, right? Like someday I'll be happy. Maybe that's the same post. Someday, it is the same post. Someday, someday, someday. Someday it'll be seen. Someday it'll be appreciated. But what are you going to do in this now, in this very moment? Who will you be in this very moment? How will you show up in this very moment? And so, yeah, those are real truths. Same beautiful blog. Okay. Thanks, Lisa. It is the same beautiful blog. So yeah, so the moon card in Tarot is associated to Cancer, right? And so if you have a sun sign in Cancer, the sun is not the home place, but it's where our egoic self exists. And your egoic self is not a bad thing. It's different, right? And so it's a different place. And so, but the moon is at home there. But when we are moving through the moon energy, it highlights what we are kind of overemphasizing, what we're giving too much attention to, and where we're not putting our focus. And some of those areas we're not putting our focus is the things that we are avoiding, we're neglecting to see, we don't want to see, but yet it is coming out and it's being taken out on other people or other places in our lives, or we're always waiting, right? Waiting for the someday, or hoping, we have all these expectations, and then always setting self up for disappointment. And your joy has to be in your accomplishment, what you know you're doing right, how you feel about yourself. And so, yeah, my seasonal disorders shit will continue for another little bit. I know it's coming. It don't just happen in winter. It happens in the freaking fall when everything turns brown and blah. Like when everything starts to fade. It's even in the early, like that March part of spring. This girl's not so on board with the beginning of spring at all. Hate it. I don't like it. I don't like when it rains. I don't like how I feel when it happens. Well, it's beautiful. It's raining outside. Yuck. So, um, I get why we need rain. I do have water energy too. I have water signs. Um, but those are real things for me. I can feel it, but it's not my identity. So stop identifying with your sadness. Stop identifying as it's who you are. It's not who you are. It's what happens to you. It's what happens to your energy. It's what happens to your emotions. And it's something that we can not take personally and that we can move through, right? It's like moving through it. Let it move through us. And so it's moving through the energy, moving through the times, moving through the experience, being with the experience, because there's so much to be learned. There's so much to be appreciated. I give a lot of hugs to this version of myself when she's here. And we do a lot of things very differently, me and that self. And so self-actualization is recognizing the selves. recognizing that self. And so we have an emotional body, we have a mental body, we have a spiritual body. And 2026 is going to be a lot about moving through our emotions and about moving into that body, into the spiritual body, recognizing the relationship with our soul, that connection that we have, and very intuitive energy coming in. It's also going to start moving us through the next couple years, especially. It's going to have some drought. It's going to have some drying up of times. It's going to have, it has fire energy, especially the later part of summer. Like the later part of summer is going to be kind of it's you're going to see more of drier energy. You're going to see that fire energy. Like it's playing out. And so what imagine if it can be that powerful on the outside, imagine what it can be like inside of us. Imagine what those elements and the energy of all of that, if it can do that much on a world scale and to the collective energy, imagine what it's doing to us and we're not acknowledging it within ourselves. We're living separate from our own energy, that we don't see ourselves as energy, or we don't see this as like just energy that's moving through us, or this is just an emotional response. This is a go to. This is a pattern. This is a habit. This is a repeat. This is my isms, right? This is my addictive pattern that I have. This is my conditioned pattern, right? And this is what I believe, this is what I valued, but those can change. I can change these things, and that we are forever changing, and that we are so much more than we've been taught to believe. And now we're starting to teach that in different ways. Right? I don't believe the world needs more positivity. It needs mind able to deal with the complexities of life, minds that hold nuance and polarity, minds that say good, yeah, that stay grounded and centered. Yes, exactly, Candace. That's exactly it. And that's why I teach more than existing, is so that it helps people recognize that we're not going to escape the world. We're not going to escape our emotions. It's all going to be there. And too often we say, we try to protect people from things instead of prepare them. I spent my life preparing my daughter to exist in the world rather than her having to avoid the world, or her being told the world is bad and ugly and you should not go out into it, or you should be afraid of it. It's like, no, the world is filled with everything, the good, bad, and the ugly. And you need to experience the good. And if in order to experience the good, you've got to be willing to go out and try it out. You've got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to be disappointed. You got to know the world is going to disappoint you. You got to know the world is not going to agree with you. You got to know everyone's not going to like you or love you. You got to know that everyone's not going to believe you or believe in what you do. You're going to be mimicked. You're going to be mocked. You're going to be laughed at. You might be all of those things. That your beauty is going to be defined by other people's beliefs in beauty. Everything, everything is tied up in the collective beliefs, and we have been selling perfection for too long now. And so, yeah, it's time for those changes, right? And so there's optimism is very different than positivity. It holds different energy. You can be optimistic and and also be a realist, right? To be realistic, you can have all of that happening all in one. So the other thing I got coming up, and I haven't even, I've been playing this over my head, and this morning I start writing this out, and I'm like, this is the year you have to start doing this. So, like these lives that we have when I pull cards and do readings for people, is I'm going to start to do, I'm going to try, I don't know if it'll be every week or every second week, not sure how it's going to happen, but I'm going to start hosting paid events where I will pull cards for people. So some will be just intuitive guidance with the cards. Other events will be online mediumship, but they're going to be paid events. Not a lot, but it'll be like whatever it will be between $20, $25, and it'll be a guaranteed of, say, depending on how many people are in there, it'll be like maybe 5 or 10 people. I'm not sure how to navigate all this yet, but you'll be able to go in and register and pay on and be able to pay for this. The dates will be posted, and you'll be able to sign up for whichever ones that you want to come into. And so that you still get to be in these events, but I'm going to start doing some of these events, some of these as paid. I'll still do the scattered live free one, of course, but I I really know that that's and I want to be able to see faces. So in my Zoom, you got to be able to use your Zoom. And it'll be on Zoom. It'll be paid events, and it will be like once a week, once every 2 weeks. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but it will be. I'll be hosting those, and they'll be all paid, and you'll be able to sign up and register for whichever ones you want to come into. If you need to change to another one, you'd have to do it in 24 hours. They're not going to be refundable. If you don't show up, that's going to be on you. That's going to be a you problem and not a me problem. They're not going to be refundable. Um, and if it's an emergency, a little different, but um, we'll work around it. But it's not. It's going to be that so many people will be chosen. Not everybody will be guaranteed, of course, because that's not how it works. But unless the group is small, we can get everyone in. But at least 5 to 7, maybe 10. Who knows? Will 5 for sure, 6 for sure will receive readings. And thank you to Thelma for reaching out. Exactly. Honoring your time, energy, and devotion. Yes. I teach this to people and I always talk about honoring our time. And this is me from struggle to perseverance, which is pause, rest. Pause, perseverance is pause, rest before we respond. And honoring the time, honoring the work, honoring the energy, and honoring myself and not disappointing myself in any way is I'm making that change. I teach it to others. I put it everywhere. I've been building in YouTube, Facebook, all those places for years. And those places don't make me money, trust me, at all. And this is going to be my way that I'm going to be able to also still give back, like for people to still be able to access my work. For especially if you can't, if you don't have the if my individual work, if booking a one-on-one session with me doesn't fit in your budget, this is an opportunity to still work with me, to be in a group with me, to still get the teachings, to still get the intuitive guidance. Even if you're not chosen that week, they're going to be full of information. I'm still going to share collective cards with everyone. I'm still going to share information with everyone. I'll still share teachings. I'm going to do all of that. So it's almost like it's a subscription, but you're not obligated to pay every month. It's like whichever ones you want to jump on and come into, you're going to be able to come in. Ah, see, Lisa did her last freebie today. Um, and so yes, and so it's an honoring, and it's me kind of not disappointing myself, but feeling very alive and feeling very excited about that. So that's going to start happening pretty soon here, and yeah, I'll have a post, I'll have it shared. You'll see the event, you'll see all the events pop up, and I'll post it, I guess, on if you're only on YouTube, I'll post it in like the little comments, like in the section where we can share. There's a place where we can share posts there. I can put my shorts on YouTube. I don't know why, but there's a place to add it there, so you'll see it there. It'll also be going out in the emailed. So subscribe on my website. If you're subscribe on my website so that you can get all of the notifications of everything that is happening because it's all happening. So that's going to be happening. And it gives you more of an opportunity to be a part and to come in. And there will be a lot happening in those. You'll be wanting to join this little club. Come join the Corey Club. Come be a part of the Corey Club, right? And so I'll still be here as well, some, but just not as much. So the card that I pulled for this collective energy is, and it's out in reverse, and it is the Nine of Swords. So, you know, in the upright, it's about what keeps us up at night. It's about our anxiety, what makes us anxious, not being able to rest, not being able to sleep, living in our heads, being stuck in our heads. And so, and there's a little owl here. And it's like the wisdom is there, but we push the wisdom away. We keep the wisdom out. No matter how much we know, it's like if you keep saying, I know, I know, I know, I get it, I get it, I get it, I heard it, but you keep repeating the same pattern, you keep doing the same thing over and over, you don't know. But what you don't know is not that you don't know the information or you don't know the wisdom. is that you don't know the one little thing that becomes the trigger to why you keep returning to the same pattern, to overthinking, to doing the things over and over and not getting a different result, right? If we keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, but we're doing it exactly the same way, we're going to get the same. And so this is about moving beyond this. And and then you can pay it forward because you guys, you're, and oh, then you get to pay it forward. Take your guys at the shop. Yeah, they're donuts. Yeah, and they get to see your lovely face and visit. Exactly. Exactly, Brenda. Right? And so this is moving beyond that which we makes us the most anxious. So sometimes the things that are keeping us up are the things that are about hard conversations. And those hard conversations are not always with everyone else. You are not here to always have the hard conversations with everyone else. Sometimes those hard conversations are with yourself. And there's no one any harder to face and to be honest with than yourself. It is so easy to tell everyone else what's wrong with them and what they need to fix about themselves, and how if they do things differently or if they would just do what you're telling them to do. But are you doing it? Are you doing it, or do you want someone else to do it? And if someone else is doing it, what do you feel about yourself when someone else is doing it but you're not doing it? Right? It's like it's that, and those are the things that this moon is kind of acknowledging. It is the ultimate divine mother. The divine mother energy, it's also a wolf moon. The divine mother energy, or is it cold moon? The divine mother energy, she doesn't come in and be nice and sweet. She's kind. And there is a massive difference in being conditioned nice versus being kind. It's like, oh, but I want to be the nice one. I want to be the liked parent. I want to be the liked friend. I want to be the liked person. I want everyone to like me. So I'm going to just drown everyone in my niceness. I'm going to be nice, and it's like nice never gets to truth. Nice lets people hurt, and nice keeps people staying where they are, whereas kindness is honesty. Honesty with compassion, honesty with love helps us to be able to move forward. It is the wolf, right? Yeah. This is the wolf moon. Um, and so this moon bringing in the divine mother energy, which also brings in the healer energy. Cancer, the zodiac sign of Cancer is very intuitive, very much about the gut. Also, it is very much about the healer. It is the ultimate healer. So Cancer is the healing energy, right? And yes, and so we're talking about the wolf, right? What are we feeding? The hungry wolf that we're feeding, which we're starving out. And so sometimes that wolf gets growly and aggressive because it is not being nurtured, it is not being acknowledged, it is not receiving what it needs to receive. And some of that is our own love. Um, and and really truly looking at our own life. And so this divine mother and her kindness, in her kind energy, in her loving energy, she shines a light. And that light is the light of love. And so it's funny how we run from the light, but we go to the shadows, right? It's like it's it's like when someone's trying to be really good to you, really kind to you, and you're like defensive about that. How many times do you meet define how many times do you meet the how do you oh, well, let me get this right. So how many times do you meet someone who's genuinely just good, kind? They're being nice to you, but you're so defensive about the nice person. But the person who is manipulative, or the shady kind of person, is the people we return to. It's almost like having Stockholm syndrome, right? We go to what's familiar because that's what the ego wants. The ego is about finding comfort in the familiar. It's about getting back to safety. And so when we have all this trauma, or we have all of this insecurities, and our nervous system is misfiring, is dysregulated, is that too often the place that we go to for comfort is the same place that hurts. It's the same place where we get burned. It's the same place where we fall into that despair, or we fall back into old patterns or old ways. And that's why your environments matter. And the environment to where you hang out matters. And but yet it's like, oh, but that I feel good there. I feel safe there. I feel like I'm understood there. No, it's everyone is just agreeing with you. And that's what that we have that inside of us, is that there's no one who will agree with your wrong choices more than you, right? There's that part of us that just says, yeah, you're right. You know what? You listen to any of them people. They're all wrong. You got this right. You don't need to do that. And that's so easy to do when we're afraid of change, when we're afraid to do the hard things, when we know we have to do the work that needs to be done. And this moon is bringing all of that up for us. All of it. My intuition has gotten so much stronger since my heart issue. Yes, Carla, absolutely, it would, right? It would. It's because that part of your heart going through that experience, imagine the energetic blocks that you had happening there, right? Imagine those energetic blocks. And then once you experience that, and that shock to the body, the shock to the system, that being closer to heaven, right? Like that place, having that change. And now, of course, you'd be more open, more sensitive, more aware, right? So there's a whole nother level of awareness. You're not the same Carla. There's no way of being the same Carla you were before your heart issue. And there's no going back to that Carla, right? She's gone now. And here's this new Carla. And so this is like the new beginning. This is like the beginner and beginning again and starting over. It can be very exciting, but it can also be very unfamiliar. And when we keep trying to do the old things we used to do, and then you can't do the things you used to do, we can also get very mad at ourselves. So it comes with like grief. It's sadness and happiness mixed together, right? Yeah. Right. And when you leap from uh, from those, you- from those environments, the universe does catch you. Yes. Courage, it's important. Yes. And so if you see courage and strength, grace, um, all of those things as virtues, see them as spirits. Those are spirits. And if the spirit of courage is here, then the spirit of courage can help us move, right? Because sometimes we don't have the strength. Sometimes we don't have the courage to do those things within our thoughts. In our own thoughts, we don't have the courage. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, it just happens. Your mouth opens, what you need to say comes out. Your body just moves, and you take action towards something. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. That's our soul helping us. That's the part of ourselves that we don't live in, activate, work with often enough because we're so busy tied up in our mental being, and in our emotional being that we forget about the spirit of us. We forget about the soul essence of who we are and our higher self. And the more that you start to work with the higher self, the more that you start to work with the higher level of consciousness, the more that life begins to move you, and you get moved through, and you have the strength and the courage to do the things that you didn't think you had before. You get softer. You don't get harder. You don't get busier. You don't put in more effort. You don't get more stressed out. You get less of all of that because you get into the flow, and you start to do things with a deeper knowing. Is life still challenging? Yes. Is our mind still there? Is our emotion still there? Of course it is. Of course it is. Anyone who tells me it's like, oh, I never think about, I never think about anything. Really, you're always thinking. Your thoughts never stop happening. They're there. It's just we don't stop in them. We don't get attached to them, and it's the attachments that we make that then become like little sticky little tentacles that pull us in. I'm happy she's gone. I'm excited. I have I have stirred some shit up too. Yeah, right? Of course. Yeah, it happens. Okay, let's see what the everyday goddesses have for us. And then I have some questions for you. So we have the unveiling. Oh, I love this card. This is Scarlet. I love her. I think she's one of those cards that just, and I tell you what I love about her. I really associate her to the Capricorn energy. I really associate her to even the the devil card, the devil in disguise. And so what she's doing is the virtues as angels. Yeah, exactly, Candace. And so, she's looking over her shoulder. Tell me why she's looking over her shoulder. Because that attachment to any insecurity, any self-esteem issues that we have come from somebody else's words, somebody else's beliefs, somebody else's thoughts that have been attached to us. How many times have people probably said to you things like, "Oh, you'll never be able to do that. You're not strong enough. You're not smart enough." And you're like, "Oh, go watch me, watch me." But then you're doing it to prove it to someone. Or you want to do something for yourself and you feel happy about it, but you're starting to be the version of yourself you want to be, but yet you're still afraid and you're looking over your shoulder because fear still has an attachment. Resentment, bitterness, all still has an attachment, and it doesn't mean it's yours. It means often it could mean it's someone else. Your self-esteem from early age is built on the words of other people that become your thoughts about yourself. That's what your self-esteem is. Your self-esteem, when you look in the mirror, is what you're saying to yourself or what you're believing about what you think you're seeing is coming from what you have been told about yourself. And the minute you start to change the narrative and change the story and tell yourself a new story, you neutralize those old, is that the reflection begins to change. And when you can see through the eyes of spirit and you can see the essence of your truth and your soul, you can see what real beauty is, you can see what real strength is, you can see what real courage is, you can see what that real truth is, then that's when you start detaching and you start breaking the chains. You start breaking away from that which you think that I've left behind. But if you've left it behind, you wouldn't have the insecurity. You wouldn't have the fear. It wouldn't be there. But when you're ready to fully leave it behind, is you're ready to tell a new story. You're ready to believe in you. You're ready to see yourself as your beauty and not the defined beauty. You're ready to stop picking on yourself. You're ready to stop being so hard on yourself. You're ready to not stick yourself on another diet because you're telling yourself you're not good enough, but you're ready to acknowledge what it means to be healthy. You're ready to look at to kind of rid yourself of the things that are the someday things. Someday I'm going to wear that again, right? And so the more that we recognize this, and so she's sparkling, she's in her light, but yet she's looking over her shoulder, still looking to make sure it is safe. You have to tell yourself that it's safe to be me. There should be no one that we're more safer with than ourselves, but yet that enemy, that biggest enemy, exists within us. There's no one who picks on us more. There's no one who's harder on us than us. There's no one who drives us, push us more than us. We are our own worst enemy. We are cruel and unkind to ourselves sometimes. And once you learn to soften that up and recognize where it truly comes from, where did I learn that? Where did I get that belief? Where did I discover that? How did that become the habit that owns me and controls me? And it is about shifting our mind. Our mindset matters. And we have to shift those mindsets. And that's what's coming up. And this is the unveiling, Scarlet. So what's being unveiled to you through this full moon energy that is asking for you to sit and listen, for you to pay attention, for you to acknowledge my elbow. So I had these questions, and these didn't come from me. These came from this gentleman named Chase, and he works with, being able to read minds and stuff in interrogation and that kind of stuff. And I love his work, and because it's so associated to my more than existing work as well. But what and so what I've been working on and what's coming up for me and what I was writing from what I shared with you guys was I wrote evolved happiness. I'm working on evolved happiness. Happiness evolved. Imagine that. Happiness evolved. And so, where did I write this down? Let me find it. Okay. What is what is the best possible outcome for my life this year? What is the best possible outcome? What is the best possible outcome? Ask yourself this. Don't answer it right away, but you want to write out everything. What is the best possible outcome? Dream big because this year, this 0 degree, this Neptune Aries conjunction we're having, it is about big dreams. But what is it? What would be the best outcome for my life this year? The best possible outcome. And then, because what it is about is that we need to be able to work with contrast. You need contrast. And if you don't have contrast in your mind to switch back and forth, is that you will constantly be, traveling that same path or like blinders on, hyper fixated, hyper focused on something without flickering back and forth. We use what's called a Disney strategy in coaching. And in Disney strategy is that you can have your biggest dreams, but now you have your biggest dreams. Now you have to meet the wise one, you have to meet the critic, you have to meet the builder. Like you have to wear these hats so that you can see all the possible outcomes. So what is the best possible outcome for my year? Now ask yourself this. If if I don't do the things that I need to do for the best possible outcome, what is the worst possible outcome? What is the worst possible outcome that can happen that if I don't do the best things, right? That if I don't start working towards the best possible outcome, what is the worst? And write it all out. Write it all out. And as you begin to write it all both out, you get to reflect back and forth and looking back and forth and just saying to yourself, well, I don't want that to happen. So if I don't want that to happen, then what do I have to do? And what do I need to do? It is about accountability. And this moon, this kindness of the divine mother energy and what the evolved moon does, what the evolved emotions does, it holds us accountable for our own emotional changes that we make. And so, but it wants to know, what are we actually working with? What am I actually working with? Are you really sad or are you just really freaking disappointed? Are you angry or are you frustrated? What is it? What is really happening? Because we can't work on something that we don't understand, that we don't know, because then we're always running around in circles, right? So ask yourself, what is the best? What would be the best possible outcome? And what would be the worst? Because we need to work, it's the yin and the yang. It's the light and it's the shadow. It's the light and it's the dark, right? It's contrast. And we're here to have those contrasts. So ask yourself those questions and work with those questions. And I highly suggest cards are always a good way to help yourself work through that as well. Another card? Want another card? Gotta drink my water. So one of the things that I always did was deprive myself and not knowing, consciously knowing that I would deprive myself. I was never nurturing my body properly, and I would not realize that I was hungry or thirsty because I was so used to restricting myself because my whole being, my whole life was I was taught to restrict because the only way that I was going to achieve something like get thin was to restrict your diet, restrict your intake, right? Like don't eat that. And so I would deprive myself. And so if you're depriving yourself, if you're taught to deprive yourself in one area, there is a good chance you are depriving yourself in many areas because you don't think you're either worthy or you think it's better to give it to someone else first, that you don't need it. I don't need that. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I don't need that. Catch yourself in those little statements that you make or those little habits that you have, because those are real. And they often, the root of that is not even in the area where you think it is. And so everything plays out. And so I didn't even recognize I was even thirsty. I never got thirsty. I'm like, I don't get thirsty. I'm just so busy being busy that I don't even think about my body. I don't even think about myself because I was neglecting myself. How many of you do that? Right? How many times does that happen? Next card. Did I lose everyone? Are you still here? Am I still connected? I have internet now because I actually got Starlink. Too often. Yeah, right, Krista? And if you were to look at where that stems from, right? Where's that stem? And so when I did some Kabbalah healing work, is we work with our rotten root. And it was probably one of the most powerful things that I could do. And I've taken it into all of my work. Yeah, another card. Ah, we have the way home. We have the way home. Uh, And if Lindsay's still here, this was the card Lindsay didn't like when we were doing the cards. This is card 15, and she's in the mother energy. So Scarlet is in the beginner, and she always reminds me of the devil card. And she reminds me of Capricorn energy. And Capricorn energy is a leadership. It's strong. It's determined. It kind of calls you out on your shit. Capricorn is really good at calling you up and out, and probably in the most loving way. But it's a push. Capricorn pushes. It pushes the buttons. It pushes the limits. It's a pushy energy. But I've learned to really appreciate the Capricorn. I have a Mars in Capricorn in my chart. And I recognize my resistance with Capricorn. So this is probably one of my favorites as well. But this is the way home. It's card 15. I say this is the death card. This reminds me of the death card in Tarot, my version of the death card in Tarot, the way. So it is the way home. And it is me spelt backwards and me spelt forward. And we get so far away from ourselves. And then we hear ourselves huffing and puffing and and exhausted and wiping our heads and rubbing our eyes and saying, "Oh, I'm just so tired. I'm so exhausted." It's because you've exhausted yourself. You've stretched yourself so far away from your life force energy. Your vitality is becoming like non-existent because you are not attached, or you're attached, but you're so stretched out that you just are not there. And so this is about coming back to ourselves, but this is also about the spirit. The death card in Tarot is about peace. If you look at the death card, you see that the collateral damage has happened. And the things that keep us exhausted are the things that have already happened, are already happening, but we're still living in them, and we're still in the chaos, and we're still in the storm. We're still standing there, and the storm has probably left, but we're looking at the collateral damage, and we don't even know where to begin. And the beginning is making peace. You have Mars in Capricorn too, Lisa? Look at us go. That explains a lot. And so, and so when you see the death card, you actually see peace has arrived, the white knight has arrived, and too often we do try to be the white knight, and there's actually a white knight syndrome. It really is real. It plays out in a lot of places of when we believe we're coming in to save somebody, right? Like other people don't need us to save them. No, we can't save anyone. From themselves, right? It's like you can't save anyone from themselves because you can't separate anyone from themselves. They have to recognize what's happening within themselves. But the death card speaks about peace. And we're really moving through that energy about being able to make peace, making peace with what you can't change, making peace with some of the parts of you that you're not getting rid of, like our, parts of our innate identity, parts of who we truly are parts of that boat self that other people have a problem with and that you shouldn't have a problem with, making peace with you and making peace with where you have been. And so she's moving through that. And so she's embodying spirit. And when we embody spirit, when we embody our true essence to our soul self, we start to be able to soften. So it brings us back. And the closer we get back to ourselves and back to the center, is that we recognize that we can shift and move from side to side, from into the contrast, into this and that, into positive, into the negative, that we can see with new perspectives. We can see life in all directions, but we also recognize the middle and what it means to live from the middle and to get back to that place in the middle within ourselves. We are, everything is happening, but we don't have to be a part of everything that is happening. And so this is coming back to ourselves. And this is the beginning of kind of coming back to ourselves. This is like we're moving through, and we're leaving the year of the snake in February, and we're moving into the year of the fire horse. We're moving into a lot of new times. There's a big shifts that are happening. We have Saturn leaving Pisces, and we'll not see that for a while. So for anyone who's got the Saturn in Pisces, or you are a Pisces sign and you're wondering why was life feeling like it was stagnant, slowed down? That's why. And Saturn is a powerful, influential energy. Saturn is not a problem at all. Saturn is big transformation, big change. Saturn is now going to be moving into Aries. So the Saturn in Pisces is going to be moving into Aries. Neptune is leaving Pisces, and Neptune is moving into Aries. What do these things mean for us? It means identity shifts and changes, because the planets have identities. Your zodiac signs have identities. They're all associated to the elements. They're all associated to whether you are like an air sign, a cardinal, an air sign, a water sign. Like there's so many elements that is associated. Fire, right? Earth, all of those that play out, or immutable and cardinal sign, like all of that matters. And it matters to us in big ways because it influences how we show up in our own lives. And so this is about coming back to ourselves. It's about remembering who we are. And if you can really look at yourself as not broken, you've just forgotten. We were born with amnesia, and you've forgotten, and someone else tried to tell you their way, so that you're told to live somebody else's way. And it's very hard to be living someone else's way. And as you mature and as you grow and as you kind of uh, go through your experiences, you recognize that I have to start getting back to me. And so it's not that you need someone to fix you. It's about someone who holds the space so that you can begin to remember, who you are. Remember your whys. And you need a big why. A big why is what anchors us, and then having all of our little whys. I say, what is your why? What is your why? And the other thing I've always done in More Than Existing is, what is your win? Every week we'd have to look at, what is the win? What is that one win? What is that win that you've experienced? What is that win? I didn't shuffle. Okay, try one more. We're doing collective cards. Delilah. This is Delilah, and she's a 9. So 2025 was the year of the 9. We've just come through the 9. 2026 is the beginning of a new cycle. So it's a 10 and it's a 1. Some people don't even associate it to a 10. In archetypal energy, you're darn right we're connecting it to a 10. And we're connecting to a 10 because we cannot neglect the fact that, yes, this is about new beginnings, but this is, so after a 9 in Tarot, an archetypal energy of Tarot, is you're going to have a 10. And that 10 is going to bring, like when you look at the elements, you look at the wands, the swords, the air, and the pentacles, is that they all have a 10. Why do they have a 10? They have a 10 because a 10 is about endings. And I don't mean endings is bad. Endings can be happy endings. It can be results. It can be dreams come true. It can be where things begin to work out. What nines are is that we're so close. We're there. We've gathered everything that we need to be able to step into our ending and our new beginning at once. That's what Delilah is that she recognizes her so-called mistakes, her life lessons, all the things, and she's up and she's looking in a new direction. And because she's got tiger lilies instead of like water lilies, is that she's choosing for herself. She's making her choices because she's still dabbling in the weeds. She's still attached. She still has a little bit of an attachment that's keeping her from fully being able to choose. So there's a fine line in our choices. And the fine line in our choices is the area of where we sit sometimes. And so it's like between this and that, right? It's like we have to contemplate the why to our choices. Why do I believe that? Why do I want that? And what version of myself wants that? Am I doing this to appease my shadow, to appease my fears, or am I doing this to really step into my light? And of course, I've taken Delilah from here, from the biblical story of Samson. Samson and Delilah in the Bible story, right? Like it's like she betrayed him because she didn't trust him. She put her trust in those who were there to harm her, her family, and others because they made her a promise that wasn't really truly ever going to be something they were going to honor, right? And so you have to honor yourself and not let fear keep you from trusting yourself, and to know that if you go against your own intuition and against your instincts, is too often, if we're led by fear, is and instead of by faith, is that we find ourselves in destruction, and then we got to make another choice. We got to choose again, right? And so this is about being almost there, but in numerology, part of it is a 9-year cycle. So at the end of the 9-year cycle, the one, we're moving into a whole new area. So it's like you can look at things however you want to look at them, whatever resonates with you, but do not deny someone else the opportunity to have to travel through their way of learning or discovering. It's not a wrong or a right, it's perspective. And so Delilah is here to remind us of our choices, and but to remind us that if we keep that if we don't take our feet out of the water and stand up and take a step in the right direction, we're never going to get to the happy ending, the new beginning. It's like we get stuck, and it's not about being stuck. And now we're about to move forward. So coming into this year, we have the fire horse, and that fire horse, man, that fire horse energy is about healing. It's like, and horses can be led to water, but they can't be forced to drink, right? And so horse is powerful. It's Chinese astrology, right? So horses are very powerful. They move, and horses can be very stubborn, can be very, there. It's about intuition. It's about instinct. It's about transformation. But this year's going to be loud. It's not going to be silent, quiet. It's not going to be always peaceful. And that's why it's so important for us to be able to make peace, to be at peace within ourselves, and to be able to know that, you know what, we've all come a long way. You've all come a long way from where you have began to where you are now in all levels. You don't just look at one area, you don't clump it all together. You got to make it like a pie. You got to create it like a pie in family, in friendship, like in relationships, at work, whatever that may be. We have to look at different areas. And I almost cut my hair off today. Today, I had the scissors and everything out, and I almost cut my hair off, um, but I didn't. And so the last card is the performer, and she's Sasha, and she's three. The power of three, the Trinity. And the Trinity energy is playing out big somehow in this year. And it is that mind, body, soul connection. It is that which, and then there is the divine. And so she is the performer, is that is, being sometimes when we wear our mask and we keep being who we think we need to be, saying what we think we need to say. It's like keeping it so boxed together, so put together that we don't realize that we're actually performing. We think we're being ourselves, but it's like we until you recognize that you're not really yourself, that you're the self that has been created, and that's our persona. So the performer is about our persona, and looking at our persona versus our innate personality, our character traits, our identity. It's about looking at the persona, and that is the part of ourself, the mask that we wear whenever we show up. It's the mask that we wear in our roles that we play, and it's not that we're not going to sometimes wear masks, but it's about when we remember who we are, is we begin to know who we're not. We recognize that sometimes we have to adapt and adjust depending on where we are and who we're around, but we don't lose sight of ourselves to ourselves. And this is the card that speaks to us and says, it is so easy to really lose ourselves. You ever notice how kids become their people they're around? Like your kid could be one person and all of a sudden they start hanging around with this group of people, and before you know it, they're acting like them and they believe that's what they are and they believe that's what they like. Well, that just grows and expands. And so remembering who we are, finding ourselves, working with this beautiful divine mother energy, the kindness, the shifts, the changes, but also recognizing of where we cannot move forward in an environment of where we are disappointing ourselves. And so and that sadness and happiness does exist all at the same time, but not taking everything so personally, but we're going to be feeling our feelers, and we're feeling our feelers now, and this year is going to be about feeling our feelers and evolving our feelers, very evolving our emotions, feeling our feelers, evolving them, and it's about maturity. And the other part that we're going to be moving in towards is that the archetype, not true victims. This is not about people who are victims, but the archetype of the victim. We have played a lot in the archetype of the victim. And has been, and so when we look at the archetype, it's the collective consciousness of the victim. And it's so easy, it's so easy to be so easily offended by everything. And this is kind of, we're moving into a time because the energy is shifting, and because we're moving into new elements and new dynamics. We had a lot of water in the last years, right? And now it's the air, and so it's like it's about kind of, I always say it's like the return to the 80s. Us Generation X, that are built a little different. Like we rode around in the back of trucks. We rode with no helmets on. They dropped us off at swimming holes. How many people got dropped off at swimming holes and left there all day, and then someone come back and pick you up after work? Like our babysitters were the streets. Like all of those things. You had no seatbelts on. That's kind of, put that in perspective into the emotional energy, or into the, that's kind of what 2026 is like. It's like, if you're so, oh, muffin, you're so easily offended. Oh, well, you're gonna have toughen, and you're gonna have to mature, not toughen. You're gonna have to mature that. And it's not the people saying to you, it's your own inner self saying that to you. It is leveling us up. It's activating this maturity within us so that we can see things, feel things differently, and work from a different level within ourselves. So it's like we're all becoming like little 80s kids all over again, and we're finding our way through it, navigating our way through it. And that's where we are. So imagine that. And that's what I have for you tonight. That's what I got. I hope in some way this helped, and I'll be posting about the upcoming paid events that are going to be happening where you can come in for intuitive guidance. So many people will be getting cards and choosing cards. We're going to be doing things differently. I'll share teachings, I'll share stuff in there. I will be doing some of these lives for free, but not the way that I was before. I just have to navigate life in a little bit different way. I'm always going to share my vulnerability. I'm always going to share the rawness. It's just because it's a journal entry, just because it's a writing. I am a creative. I'm a writer. I write, and I write through my emotions, and so it all happens. Um, and, and I know I'm loved and supported, and I know that that's there. So thank you all for coming in tonight. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a beautiful night and happy full moon. Go write in your journals now. Get them journals out and keep writing. And you get your tickets. If you're in the Slave Lake area, come see us on the Women's Winter Wellness on January the 24th. Tickets are on Eventbrite. If you're in the Slave Lake area, you can reach out to Joy or Tracy. It's all on the page. But yeah, if you're in the area, come see us. So much love. I'll chat with you later. Bye bye.